Origin 2 is upon us, and this result, unfortunately, is only going one way, and that is a massive win for the Blues over at Optus Stadium in Perth. Now, before we go anywhere, we're doing a little bit of a poll here at bets.com.au. We would love for you to comment down below and tell us who is the greatest Blues Origin player of all time. Let us know down in the comments, and we'll be throwing some content at you around the answers. But let's dive into this game and why I believe the Blues are going to run away with this. Look, the simple fact is that they dominated game one. The 18-6 scoreline was actually flattering for Queensland. Blues scored 4 tries to 1, and Queensland's try came off a mistake from a scrum. From the Blues. So Queensland just had nothing in attack, and the creativity at the line was poor, and that's obviously the reason why Billy the Kid has decided to drop the Queensland captain, Daly Cherry Evans, and bring in Tom Dearden with Kurt Mann coming off the bench. Look, things just didn't click. They've also decided to, move the hammer from the center to the wing and bring Valentine Holmes a step in. Is that going to be the right move or not? Have Queensland made the right changes to combat the absolute mongrel that the Blues had? Look, the Blues forward pack was better in game one, and their back three were also much more impressive. Look, the stats were dominating. The key stats that we like to talk about a lot on this channel for our regular week-to-week tips are run meters, line breaks, and the Blues just dominated. Look, they had 328 more run meters than the Queenslanders did, and they also won the line break count 4-1. So they're moving down the field a lot better. They were putting themselves in better positions, and the Queenslanders were just hanging on the whole time. Look, the halves pairing for the Blues with Mitch Moses and Nathan Cleary is only going to bloom from year to year that they play together, and are going to be a key factor which could lead to a bit of a dominant patch for the New South Wales Blues at the moment, with Queensland needing to make some changes to their squad. So, look, the Blues just have had so much more power, as I said, in the forward pack, and scored 4 tries to 1. Look, when you're coming to game twos as well, this is where things really turn on its head. The trends massively point towards the Blues to win. They've won 6 of the last 7 game twos, with 5 of those results being by a 20-plus margin. So when we're now starting to think, all right, what are we going to bet on in this game? I'm actually, as much as it hurts me to say, being a Queensland supporter, the Blues are shaping up to a 13-plus victory if you're following the way game one went and also jumping on these game two trends. And look, their team total is at 23.5 points at some bookmakers, 24.5 points with a little bit more in return, depending if you want to jump over that line. Look, I'm going to play it safer here and say 23.5 points as on the over for New South Wales. Look, I can see this one sort of blowing out massively. The 2 games of Origin games that have been played at Optus Stadium, the Blues have run away with it. They actually have a winning margin of 41 points. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 41-point winning margin in both of those games at Optus Stadium. So this one could be an absolute blowout. Wrap the series up. Look, if there's going to be heaps of tries, which I am predicting at least sort of around that 5 or 6 mark as a minimum for New South Wales, then there's one guy that's going to be in the mix, and that's Zach Lomax. We saw in game one, the Blues halves, 5th tackle option. It was more than likely it was heading over to Zach Lomax, either through the air or through the hands. So there's plenty of opportunity for Lomax to get one, possibly even grab a brace in this one, as well as he did in game one. And look, I'm going to throw a little roughie at you when it comes to anytime try scorers as well. Look, Hudson Young coming off the bench. Look, he was influential when he came off the bench in game one. He's had 4 appearances for the Blues and has never scored a try. And which is crazy because you think his try scoring form over the last few years has been incredible for the Canberra Raiders. This year, he's scored 10 tries from 13 games. So if there's going to bleed tries for the Blues, expect Hudson Young to be sniffing out his first try for the Blues, and you're getting extremely good odds for that, obviously, because he's coming off the bench. So let's round this all up because I'm tired of talking about the Blues winning this match. Take them 13 plus. Take them to score over 23.5 points in this match. Zach Lomax for a try, or if you even want a double, and Hudson Young as your roughie anytime try scorer. And don't forget, let us know down in the comments who your greatest New South Wales Blues player is of all time. But all in all, just remember now, Origin, it's great to throw some cash at it, but please do it responsibly. And most of all, happy punting.